And we're back with another episode of the RookieVille podcast, brought to you by Ballsville, where we combine fantasy football and poker, which creates big payouts with great odds. Connor, we're back at it again. We're at the near end of our mini series here for RookieVille. We've come a long way. We're getting close. Like I said, we're getting close to the start of the season. Any like words kind of as we get into this, like kind of the last couple episodes here?
Yeah, so I'm excited for this episode. We're branching off a little bit from what we've been doing. We've been talking about the same guys for a couple weeks now, so we could finally talk about some other names, but might not be the names you've been looking at. This is going to be the 2026 class for RookieVille. Obviously, next year we'll definitely be talking about these guys a lot more, but we just want to put some eyes on. If you're a rebuilding team, these are some guys that you need to pay attention to, really look out for this upcoming season, especially if you're a college football fan. Watch these guys on the field, see what you like on your team. There's some QBs, there's some wide receivers, there's some running backs. There's even a little special name in there. So yeah, let's just get to it.
Yeah, man, I'm going to kick it off with the 2026 class, and I think he's just overall the best player, overall playmaker. I have a couple comps for him already early, and he's out of the national title holders. Ohio State Buckeyes, Caleb Downs. Just think he's just flat out the best player of this class. Just because I have probably the most popular name that most people are probably looking for in this class. Is reclassifying, I guess I should say, into the next one. So I guess if that drops a hint, that's why I'm so bullish on this kid. I compliment Eric Berry, Buda Baker, more of the Buda Baker because of the size. I mean, they're both around 6 feet, around that 200 pounds. Overall, he's all over the field, playmaker. Eric Berry was notorious for making plays, especially in college and in the league. So I think this kid is of that mold. He's cut from a different cloth, and that he's just a different breed, and he's going to be kind of a staple for any team that makes him their selection in the 2027 draft, I should say. So, 2026 draft year. I'm getting confused here. I'm so sorry. But what do you say about Caleb Downs here, and then and I guess just move into your next player?
Yeah, I think he's a tremendous player. He's really a difference maker over there in Ohio State. Obviously, those are going to be your guys. Ohio State. But I would like to talk about a name that, a lot of people might be talking about him. I feel like he's probably maybe the number one overall pick in 2026, especially if he declares. He's kind of a young guy. He's really special and talented, in my opinion. It's Lenore Sellers. There's a game, if you really want to watch a game that, just sticks out on paper, it's a game against Texas A&M last year. They literally could not tackle him. I think he set the record, I would say, probably for broken tackles in the backfield. I think we had so many missed opportunities there. But the dude's just special. He can fly it, he can run. He's a do-it-all. I think he's probably I would say he's the most talented player in the draft. Obviously, I think Caleb Downs is going to be special in defensive end, but we're talking a little bit about dynasty football. So I think this is a name that probably is going to be your 101 next year in rookie drafts. I think there's some other names that are going to be in contention. Obviously, Joe Joe's going to mention some names, but if I was to have a bold prediction, kind of like our last episode, he would be my 2026 101.
Wow, man! Yeah, so you were also kind of bullish that maybe the other popular name is not in this class too.
Yes, or that he's not as good as everybody thinks he is. But
maybe that too. You never know. I got you. I have another quarterback. Another name to highlight here in this class is Cade Klubnik. He'd probably be a popular guy that kind of surges up draft boards. He's been a starter for the last 3 years now, or actually ever since he was a freshman. So yeah, this will be his third season coming into the league. Before going to the league, I think I comped him to more of a Bo Nix. He had 36 touchdowns and 6 interceptions last year. So there are certain games he showed flashes. There was a couple games early in his career where I'm just like, is he really that guy? He was the top quarterback in his class as well. He had a lot of off-target throws. I wasn't really bought into him, but he's a name in this class to remember because he comes from a big program. He's starting to make those strides again. That touchdown to turnover efficiency and the ratio there looks really, really positive. He has some athletic ability, so that's kind of where I kind of get the Bo Nix vibe here. He kind of can be a dual threat mobile plus. I wouldn't say maybe running for over 500 yards every season, but he can escape the pocket, make throws downfield. He's starting to really drop them in a bucket going deep. So they have some good receivers too this coming year. So I think that's another reason why he'll be a name to kind of rise up draft boards, or not even necessarily rise up draft boards, just because he's the QB position here. So anyway.
Yeah, I think that's a great take. I think he's, showed some potential. Obviously, he's been rusty or whatever you want to call it back there. He also, I think he has some system QB tags on him as well. Obviously, the Clemson guys are used to some dominant guys back there. I'd like to talk about another South Carolina guy, though, switching it off the QBs just for a second. We went back-to-back QBs, and there's some more QBs in this class. I'd like to talk about Nick Harbor. Just an absolute beast out there. I think he stands 6'5" and measured like 235 or 250, 240. The dude's just a monster. He's also on the track team at South Carolina, so he's not just a big guy. He's your DK. He might even be a little bit more well-polished than DK was at this time of his career. Obviously, he went to South Carolina. DK went to Ole Miss. Two SEC guys. The dude, he can fly. He's also a giant. He's also the fastest player in college football, 26. If any of you guys are, video game fans, he's a monster over there on the sticks too. So, just another name to keep an eye out, especially for your 2026. If you're selling, you need a wide receiver next year. This is a guy. There's also a couple other guys we'll talk about. Who's your next guy that you want to keep an eye out for?
I'll just comment on Nick Harbor. And I wasn't too familiar with the name until you brought him up. And I was just watching some brief film on him. I think he's a little raw too, just at least as of now. But as a freshman, I believe he came into school as just, like
18,
of course, 18. Yeah. But at the same time, he's just very just big guy, big body. But again, runs like kind of like Tyreek Hill. I mean, that 4.2 speed is no joke, especially at that height. That's insane. So the metrics and the scouting gurus of the world, or people that really put a lot of stock in the scouting process and drills, I think they're going to drool over this guy. So just because of the measurables too. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the top 10 of the NFL draft this coming year. So
if the North Sellers pops like you claim, I think
exactly.
Exactly. So we're going to put a lot of pub in here. And I don't know if you're switching your loyalty from College Station over here to the Gamecock country, but anyway,
they embarrassed you last year.
I'm gonna go to the Bayou, man. I'm gonna go Garrett Nussmeier. I think he's just gonna be up there as well with the top quarterbacks of this class, and he kind of thought the reason why I chose this photo is just because of the arm angles, man. I think this guy is very aggressive with the ball, and I think that it's a little too aggressive. He led the conference in interceptions last year, but I kind of get a lot of Baker Mayfield vibes with him. He's very fiery. Again, just the aggressive throws, but he's also, again, the interceptions are one thing. That's more decision-making, I think, but he's pretty accurate as well. 65% of his throws this past year, up from 62 the past 2 seasons, just getting a little bit more efficient. Of course, this is the SEC. This is LSU. They got some good playmakers and athletes over there. He's not the tallest guy in the world, 6'2", but he's got good size, and I think that he's just a solid name, and I think a solid quarterback for your rookie drafts the following year to probably maybe just keep an eye on, and maybe we'll monitor his production and see if he's even in the Heisman watch list, or the Heisman finalist, because he will be in the Heisman watch list just because of the position he plays.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a name I'm a hype on too much. This dude talked crap about Kyle Field. We stuck it to him over here in College Station, but he seems to be a pretty good quarterback over there. But I'm not putting him on any list. Put him on the Cbomb not drafting list.
He's like your your Jalen Milroe.
Yep, he's gonna be my Jalen Milroe. We don't draft any.
He's not nearly as athletic as Jalen Milroe.
Yep. We don't draft any LSU guys. We don't draft any Texas guys over here. South Carolina apparently is okay, but LSU,
I guess so. I mean, that might be your second favorite school. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna switch it off at quarterbacks again. I think that's the third one we talked about. We haven't talked about a running back. I would like to talk about Love over here. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. The dude's just a monster. Probably the best running back in the class. We'll see what happens in Penn State, they have a couple of guys that have, some talent too. But Love was just put on a show last year in the college football playoff.
Until he got hurt.
Yeah,
he was hampered towards the end.
So he had a great game, I think, against Indiana. Obviously, I think that's the game he got. Yes. He's I think he stands like 6'1" or something like that. He's not huge, but he's just a dog. I mean, obviously we talked about dogs all the time with the running backs this year, but I liked him. I think he's going to be in their top half of your rookie drafts. He'll probably be a first-round draft pick, depending on how his season goes this year from Notre Dame. Obviously, first-round running backs are highly touted in the dynasty community. So,
yeah, I mean, he fights for the tough yards. Watching him throughout the college playoff until he got hurt, but even some like right before the end of the season, I was starting to pay attention to Notre Dame more. I mean, obviously, the head coach is a former Ohio State Buckeye, as we all know. But so I kind of keep tabs on them too. But he's a grinded out guy. I think he's just a hard nosed runner. Want to see a little bit more in the passing game with him this coming year. So I think that will just boost his stock even more. Carnell Tate is my next guy. Surprise, Ohio State. But you know what? They've been kind of wide receiver U lately. They just turn out a lot of talent, and they should be on the national stage once again. They have another good squad, Reload, and he's just the next name coming out for this Buckeye squad. I kind of comped him to like a skinny T. Higgins. Not nearly as tall. He's only like 6'2", but at the same way, like he kind of just gets in the right spots. Really, he's not going to blow you away with it. Super athleticism. But don't get me wrong, he's still sneaky. I think his route running ability is probably his biggest selling point, and reliable. He's just a reliable guy. And I think that's kind of fits the mold of T. Higgins. And I think this year, I think he takes a step forward in those in the red zone a little bit more. Obviously, I know they have a big number 4 there, but put some good tape for this season, and Carnell Tate should be up there with the top receivers of this class. Not necessarily the top guy, but just a name to watch as he kind of creeps up draft boards here.
Yeah, he's also my next name, and sort of for the same reasons that you mentioned there. Ohio State's been putting them out. You got Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison. Obviously, Jackson Smith and Jigbo, all these guys. Yeah. I mean, even the guys that are, second or third on the team in receptions, which he was, I think last year, he was the third wide receiver out there because of, some of the names we mentioned, and Buka. You got Jeremiah Smith, obviously, who's going to be a dog in 27. But he's still produced, I think, 750 yards, 5 or 6 touchdowns. But yeah, he's my name. I think he's going to produce just like all these other Ohio State guys. I think the comps are probably similar to what you said. But yeah, he's a name that definitely, especially if he's able to produce out there with Jeremiah Smith, probably getting two guys on him all season long. So.
Yep. Let's keep moving here. I think you want you to finish this up because I like the guy you're talking, or at least you listed here, because he went to the local college out here, California. Now he's with a new squad, but go ahead.
Yeah, Zachariah Branch. Obviously, he is in the USC uniform here, but he actually transferred to Georgia, so an SEC school. He was an All-American his freshman year. He was also, I think, second team All-American or second team all freshman kick returner. So he obviously has some speed and some juice to him. I think he's going to be, a guy to watch over there in Georgia now. Just a playmaker, I believe. Loves the ball in his hands, whether it's gadget moves or whatever. Playmaking is his style. I really like watching him. I think, you're going to see him on your TV a little bit more. Obviously, USC hasn't been, real hyped, last couple of years. They used to be a blue blood, but not really anymore. But Georgia is, and he'll get his time on TV and hopefully rise his draft stock up into the first round, like most of these guys we mentioned. So,
definitely, I think he's just an overall playmaker. Watching just what he did with the USC. I think going to the SEC now, it's just like, all right, he's going to be with the big dogs now because he's a little short, stocky dude, but he could definitely spit, just run with the best of them. Just overall playmaking ability. So I like that name to watch. My final one is another quarterback. I think that's pretty much the real big selling point. If you're in need of a quarterback for next year, there's been a lot of names that are potentially out there. I'm not too high on him, but again, this team went to the football playoff and they were returning some of those, again, most of their offense from last year. And their big selling point too of this team is their running game, which I'll mention the names as bonus: Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. But Drew Aller, just a bit. Look at this picture here. I really chose this one just because like the sheer size of this guy is massive. I mean, I just compared him to Joe Flacco. I mean, Joe Flacco's never this ripped or this big, but he's kind of. I really did just because he's a statue. I mean, he really does not have any kind of sudden twitchiness to him. He's a pocket guy. So I guess the real thing for him is if he can be efficient. He was supposed to be that guy for Penn State when he came into campus, but he led his team to the college football playoff. We'll see what kind of he can do as a repeat performance here, and maybe he surprises and becomes the top name.
Yeah, I've watched quite a bit. Obviously, he was in the college football playoffs last year. They went a couple rounds deep. But there's a name that he reminds me of that not a lot of people are going to be happy of. His name's AJ McCarron. I don't know if anybody watched a lot of college football back then.
McCarron was never that big either.
Yeah, but the dude just looks like a system QB and stuff. That I think AJ McCarron. Obviously Alabama. I think they won a national title with AJ McCarron. But
you know the downside comp is for this guy, and I just thought of it because he's just like so big and so ripped, is Will Levis.
Yeah, I mean possibly, but I don't think Will Levis was ever a winner. I think Drew Aller is a winner. Obviously, he led that team last year, but AJ McCarron had running backs to produce, and Penn State. There's two dogs over there that love to run the ball. I think that's He possibly has the potential. Obviously, most of these college quarterbacks are pretty raw coming in, from high school and stuff. But we'll see what he can do this year, coming off that obviously pretty good season.
I guess though, a little words to the wise is if he starts eating banana peels or puts mayo in his coffee, I guess stay away. Like Will Levis. Yeah. So anyway, go ahead with your final. Or did you go with your final name? Oh yeah, because
I went Branch. Yeah.
All right, man. One name that I guess just like before we go, I don't want to get too long-winded here, but Carson Beck. I mean, he was a name that was supposed to come out this past year. Obviously he had the injury. He's not even starting for Georgia this year, guys. If you haven't paid attention to that, he's with Miami now. But he's a name. Because if he can recover from injury and kind of regain his form, he'll be a name with the top quarterbacks like he was supposed to be, barring injury this past season. So another name to watch. If you have another little quick bonus name.
Well, I think you could possibly put Arch Manning in here.
Of course, that's the name, guys, that we kept trying to avoid.
So, he might, announce. I think both of us don't really see that happening. Obviously, we didn't mention his name previously, but I think he's going to go to the 27th class. I think JoJo thinks he's going to go to the 27th class. But if he has just this tremendous year where his draft stock is he's going to go number 1 overall, in all likelihood, he's going to come out. So if that happens. So if Texas wins the national championship, or whatever over there in TU country. We'll see what he can do, but I believe that they'll probably underperform this year, and he'll declare in 27.
I mean, that's why I know that you hate Texas, man. It's UT, University of Texas.
Oh, my bad. I didn't think
that's why I know you hate Texas. No, I'm kidding. I was messing with you. All right, man. Well, that'll do it for 2026. We're gonna do the 2027 way too early names to watch. Very soon, so stay on the lookout for that, guys. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe, and look out for Connor or myself for just guest appearances on the Made Pod. Ask the questions, don't be afraid, say hi. Love the support that we got so far, and with that, that'll be a wrap for this one.
Peace out.